Good evening, fellow Americans. So your employer, who doesn't know a stock from a rock, unwittingly originates the 401k scheme thinking he is doing his workers a favor by setting them up with what he believes is a retirement program, but in reality, brainwashing them that the fund is honest and the fund can do no wrong because they are all knowledgeable. So what is the criteria used to determine if you own something? Property, money, for example. Does it make sense that if you own something, money, then you ought to be able to do with it what you want, when you want, from now on into the unending future? According to Webster's dictionary, ownership is the state of having exclusive rights and control of property. Well, money is property. When you put money into your bank account, all of it remains for you to use, and you can do with it anything you want, when you want, for as long as you want. Sometimes the bank will even pay you interest. Back in 1982 and 83, the prime interest rate, that is the rate the Federal Reserve charges banks to borrow money from it, was 21.5%. I can remember buying a 2-year certificate of deposit which paid 15% with no risk because the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation would write me a check for my whole amount plus interest. If I withdrew my money early from the certificate of deposit, then I would lose some interest, but not any of the original amount. All terms and possibilities were spelled out, so I could not lose. My point is, there is no chance of anyone not getting the money out of the bank that they put into the bank. There may be no interest or very low interest, but the deposit bank never had you sign a contract stating that there was a chance of you losing all or part of your money. On the other hand, the 401k requires you to sign their contract, which tricks you into agreeing to risk and gives them exclusive rights and control over all money you give them. So, they now own every dollar you or your employer give to them. If they send you a statement which says your account is now $2, you can't sue them and you have no recourse. Where that is mostly done is when a person makes one large deposit of, say, $500,000 and then never puts any money in after that. The 401k fund waits for the stock market to take a big drop like in 2008 and then sends the victim a statement stating that most of his money is gone. If he closes the account, they also hit him with fees which eat up most of the remaining money showing on the statement, which makes them even more money. Again, the victim can't sue them because he agreed to risk. He wants to kill them because they need to be killed, but killing them won't get him his money. The reason the 401k will take only 50% of your money is that they can fool you into believing that the market will go back up, and you got to think long term, and that's all to keep you giving them money. You keep on giving them money because you believe that the market's going to go back up. It works very well. People accept their lies and keep giving them money. Another trick they use is that of having a family of funds. For example, they may have a very aggressive stock fund, an aggressive stock fund, A conservative stock fund, a fund that is in between a conservative stock fund and a fund that is aggressive. An aggressive bond fund, a conservative bond fund, a real estate fund, and so on. They all have jazzy names like high yield fund, Raptor, and so on. When the fund wants to take your money, like when the market goes down, they now have another beautiful tool to fool you with. They simply say that the market for the fund you are in went down, and so it is the market's fault, not their fault, that your account went down, implying that if you had been in another fund of theirs, you would have been okay. See, it is then your fault, because you guessed wrong, not their fault. If you believe that it is your fault, then you are likely to keep giving them money and you won't be mad at them. When we think of the super rich, we think of Bill Gates, Donald Trump, Oprah, who made their riches honestly. But they represent only 10% of the super rich. The other 90% made it by operating 401ks, mutual funds, and other Wall Street activities which swindle low-income investors. With deposit bank interest so low that it is not even worth the gas to get to the bank to put your life savings in, I believe that the prime interest rate is at 0.01%, 1/10 of a percent, or 0%, because it puts pressure on investors to go for the mythical, never exactly stated, delusional high yield. Both the Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department are loaded with former Goldman Sachs people who benefit from under-the-table deals to keep interest rates low. One way or another, inflation is going to eat up the value of your money. I remember in the late 1960s, the price of gasoline was 32.9 cents per gallon. My first teaching job with a master's degree in 1965 was $5,200 a year. Now look at wages and prices.